Hi, welcome to class. We're the only two right now, but the other ones will show up eventually, right? I hate my life. I hate my life.
A Professor Sunreis Productions!
Hello class, Professor Sunreis here. Today we are going to have a slightly special video because we are not talking about my deck profile, but about a deck profile of a good buddy of mine who got top 4 on a 200 man and woman remote regional here in Germany. It's a very interesting list. It's pure virtual world, nothing too special, like no punk, no brave, just good old pure virtual world into a new format, and especially into a very undiscovered format. A deck like this with a lot of hand traps in it can perform really well because you don't really have to know a lot about the meta to compete in it. Definitely a very interesting list. It will definitely help me to get better into the deck and start posting content for you guys on this as well. But yeah, let's just get into the list and learn about Virtual World with him. Before we start, please introduce yourself and tell us about your matchups and placement real quick.
Yeah, hello. So I'm Joseph. I got fourth place at the 168-man tournament, and I played Virtual World. My round 1 matchup was Duel 60 card Light Swans. I 2-0'd that match. Then round 2 was Invoke Dogma DPE. I think I won 2-0 again. Then round 3 was 2-1 against Life Twins, also won. Round 4, 2-1 against Crankets Brave, won. Then round 5, 2-0 against Striker. Round 6, 2-1 against Striker, 1-2 against Striker, my first loss. Then round 7, my second lose against Phantom Knights, I believe 2-0 because I bricked. Top 16 then, I was really lucky to get top 16, but sometimes the luck is on your side. Top 16 I won 2-0 against Sword Soul, then top 8 I 2-0'd at Emancipator, and then top 4 I lost to Virtual World Brave, and the first round there I lost unfortunately to the first game I lost because of a DC, but that is just how it goes. And I won 2 displays of Battle of Chaos.
Okay, that's a little unlucky, but I mean, it's better than not playing Yu-Gi-Oh! At all. So before it seems like you played against a lot of meta. Was the meta like you expected, or did you expect a completely different meta? Yeah.
So I hoped people would stop playing Striker, because I wasn't prepared at all for the deck really. My deck generally had a good matchup, but because of DP it got a little bit worse. I think it's still 60-40 matchup, but before DP it was like 90-10, so it got like way worse. And then I expected to play against Invoked, against Prankets, Phantom Knights, Sword Souls, and also Virtual World. That's because of the hand traps I made. I felt also pretty comfortable going into those matchups, but sometimes it just didn't work, and against Striker I just got nipped 3 times. There's nothing you can do about it. That's just how it goes. I mean, I was also fine with losing at the end those matches because I lost. The Striker player got first place, the Phantom Knight player got third place, and the Virtual World player got second place. So any other questions or?
No, okay. I mean, those sound like fine losses to me as well. Let's just go card by card and talk about your deck choices.
Okay. The only true normal summon of the deck, Nyan Yan. This card helps a lot in the grind game and is the best extender from the graveyard because it basically brings itself out for free. Then for the names, we played 12 because we played pure Virtual World, and I want to see a name because without a name I can't play the game. We played Triple Lily, he's the second best because he's a double foolish. Then we played Lulu. Lulu is by far the best. It's insane how good it is. It can break some boards on its own. That's how good it is. Then we played Laulau. In my opinion, the worst starter, but probably the best card in turns 4, 5, 6, etc. Because he just brings back your monsters turn for turn, and that's just really a lot of gas you can push through a lot with that. And then a decent starter is GG, because even with Kringlong you can add Lulu during the end phase, so that's fine. For the spell trap,
Now, before we go to there, would you consider cutting the Lao to 2 or 1, or is it just too important to even have a bad name in hand to start combos?
In pure virtual world, you definitely should max out because you really need a name. But I can see in virtual world Sword Soul, Hulk virtual world, or Brave virtual world that you might want to cut him to 2 because he's by far the worst starter. It just doesn't work that well with the engines I named. But in pure you have to play him because you really want to see a name.
Okay, sounds logical to me.
Yeah. Then moving on to the spell and spells, we played Triple Kowloon, the best spell card in this deck, because it just can activate the best trap card in this deck, Chucha. It also can work as a chalice against decks like Dogma DPE or Sword Soul, so that's pretty decent too. Then we played the second best spell, E-Tele. This card just helps a lot with the consistency. It also kinda tries to replace Desires, and it sometimes does it even better than Desires because it guarantees you getting to play. Obviously, he is even more broken in the Hulk version, but then you have to play bricks, and I don't like playing bricks in a deck that sometimes tends to brick a lot.
Makes
Then
sense.
we play Triple Kringlong. It's decent going second. Sadly, it only works with 3 names going first, and one of that means that you have to wait a turn before it really works. But you just want to max out it because of how good it can be going second against decks like Sword Soul. Then we play the God card, Desires. Yeah, this card is crazy. Drawing 2 in a deck that needs discards is also pretty good because you don't because now you can accept the minus of discarding. Then we play one Small World. Small World can be an extender when you get hand trapped and then can banish the name. You basically didn't go minus, you just baited a hand trap from your opponent and now can search Lulu or Lily, maybe even Gigi depending on the situation, or Laulau. The bridges are pretty easy to play. Like for example, when you get hand trapped on Lily, you just banish Nip and add Lulu. Or when you wanna access Laulau and you have a Lily in hand, you just Lily, Driver, no, not Driver, one sec, Lily, wait, I just forgot the line. Yeah, too bad, but there's definitely a line.
So from Lily to where? From Lily to...
From Lily to Laulau.
Laulau?
There was a play how to do it, I believe. But it yeah, no, I think I cut it out because I played Bell a short time. And
Oh, Bell
was
could be, yeah.
Yeah, but it's just not worth it anymore. So there's not a direct line of that,
Yeah.
but usually Lolo is the hardest name to access by sort by Small World, but all the other names can be accessed pretty easy by it.
Would you consider playing more than one, or is it just not consistent
I
enough?
Yeah, it's the thing is when you brick, you usually don't brick on monsters. You rather brick on spell and traps because you didn't draw a monster. That means then Small World in those situations isn't that good.
Yeah, makes sense.
Also, it's hard once per turn. What sucks?
So it's like maybe just like a power one of like Caught by the Grave.
Yeah, exactly.
If you think about it, just lets you play through a hand trap, and it's just has extra
it's
utility.
like Caught by the Grave, but it also can just start your engine.
Yeah, so it has extra utility, and it's like a card which helps you play through a hand trap.
Yeah. Then moving on to the traps of the deck in the engine. Double chucha, you have to play 2, otherwise I would play 1, but for the combo you have to play 2. And also for the grind game, and because of that, then 1 Xuan Wu. This card sucks to draw, but it's really decent in the graveyard, so you play it.
I mean, it's only also one brick, right? This and Chuchi are basically the only bricks you really have. Maybe like Qinglong.
Yeah.
So it's totally
like
fine.
Bricks that when you discard them, do something in the graveyard. So they are okay to draw, but not in multiples. You really don't want to see Chuche, Xuanwu. It will happen, but you really don't want it to happen. Then
I mean, I also tested Virtual World without John Woo, and it just feels so weird to not have it because it's so free to send. A lot of times you just lose a lot of ceiling by not having it because you usually will set like 3 cards in the grave or 4, and just having this just gives you so much higher ceiling, and it's just a one-off.
Yeah, also it's a nice follow-up.
Yes.
Planter.
And it also opens up plays with Lily, correct? Where you like send Lulu and John Woo.
That's also the reason you have to play it, because thanks to Xuan Wu, Qinglong Lily is combo, but without it, it wouldn't be. Then moving on, the hand traps. I decided to play Triple Ash because it's the most versatile, and I wanted to prepare for control decks, because control decks are pretty decent against decks that use Scythe, because some of them just don't use the extra deck at all, or aren't really in need. Played 1 Ogre, because we have basically 4 copies, thanks to E-Tender, and it's just really decent in this format again. I think that's pretty cool. I like Ogre as a card, because it's a card you can play around, and it just shows how good of a player you are when you know it's in the format.
Especially early in the format where people are not prepared for this card and don't really know how to play around it, or just don't have it in mind. It starts to show.
Yeah. Then we played the Gemma package. The package is obviously really good when it resolves on your turn, but I found it's not that great when it resolves on your opponent's turn. Again, because it usually only trades with Griffin when you play against a good deck. And it's obviously broken against Rogue because it just trades so well against their power monsters. Yeah. Also, when you protect a name with it, it's really, really good. Then we play the one-off Nip. That's because of Small World. Also, I just didn't have the space, and I thought a lot of control would be running around at the tournament. I was kinda wrong with that. But I guess I faced 2 strikers, so Nip would be horrible in those matchups, but against combo it's like really good compared with another hand trap. like Ash Nib, Ash Ogre, not Ash Ogre, Nib Ogre, Nib Gamma, Nib Lancia are all really decent. Or just stop their turn completely. And then I decided to main deck Lancia, because in my opinion it's the only hand trap this format that can stop the best deck by its own, and best deck in my opinion is Phantom Knights, just because they can abuse Scythe the best. TP too.
Which surprisingly, by the way, was not really represented that much.
Yeah.
I will show the deck breakdown in here somewhere, so people will hopefully know it, what it is. But surprisingly, not a lot of people are onto Phantom Knights for whatever reason.
Yeah, I guess it's probably because of how unfair it is and how unfun it is to play sometimes, because it's just usually Scythe, next game,
Yeah.
hope to draw droplets going
Unless you play my list, check this out. Bam! Put it in here somewhere. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, then moving on to the side, for back row, I decided to play Reboot. Reboot is crazy against back row. I didn't face a lot of it. Twin Twister, I would cut this and then play 3 Cosmics. I think I never sided it in. Cosmic was always my choice, so I regret playing it as a one-off. The reason I came to this weird ratio is because Reboot is crazy and the one-off. Twin Twister was for the real back row decks, where I felt like Cosmic didn't trade too well. But in hindsight, I think 3 Cosmic also does the job pretty good. And I wanted to have a Cosmic as a scythe out if I really wanted to side a lot of cards. Then we played 2 Nib. I might main 3 again, or I actually do at the moment. I worked the list over again, and now I main triple Nib, cut the Gamma package, and then play 2 Ogre. So we play 3 Ogre, 3 Ash, 3 Lancia, 3 Nib, and we move the Gamma package to the side. Then we play Triple Token Collector. This card was really underwhelming. I only faced 1 Sword Soul, and I didn't saw that card. Then Skill Drain. You can't say this card is underwhelming, it just didn't came up for me, but in theory it's really good, better than TC Boo in my opinion, because Skill Rain hurts every deck, TC Boo doesn't. Dark Ruler, this card is probably going to be cut for Drolls, because I really miss Drolls, because there were quite some Drytron players, because the deck isn't just that, that's just how it is. It's really good at changing to the format, because it also can main deck Lancia, and the Lancia is searchable in that deck, so that's crazy. And so I wanted to draw them, probably rather than just Dark Ruler them.
I mean, draw is also very good against the Brave package.
Yeah, that is correct too. Then extra deck, the only fusion, Kaliga, because we played the Mud Ring. It's in my opinion one of the best endboards, because Kaliga on its own can really push some decks back down, and it's also really tricky to out with a Chuchon field. Then the best package is Crystal Wing and Solkin. It's just really cool to play around Nib, so it basically makes the Nib in the hand of your opponent dead. It can easily go for game, because it just gains the ATK boost, and Crystal Wing Kaliga is basically VFD, but you also negate graveyard effect.
Yeah.
Then we play 1 Coral Dragon and 1 Stardust Charge. Charge and Coral Dragon, you both need them in my opinion, because sometimes you have to play a hand out to make Solkin, and then you need one of them, depending on what you open. And that they both them draw what's really good in a deck that needs a lot of discards. And Coral Dragon did came up once or twice going second even, because you have now 6 cards and can allow it to discard. Then we played Vermilion. Vermilion is getting even better thanks to Itele, because now you can sometimes start your engine with it, but that's already known because Qinglong Lily is combo, because thanks to Vermilion, because you just pop him and add back Lulu that you send with Lily and reborn with Shonwu.
I mean, it's also just a toolbox card.
Yeah, that too.
Next to being a like starter.
Back row.
Yeah, true.
Then we play Juju. Juju is insane against every fair deck because it's not a fair card when it has the effect that it can't be destroyed by battle or card effects. Eldritch can really struggle to out it. Then we play Shenshen. This card in any control matchup is crazy. It comes back every turn. It makes your Chuchi a lot of times just live, because it banishes to virtual world, and it's an instant win in a lot of cases. Basically, Shenshen Chucha is an instant win against Brave PK, because Chucha outs the Brave engine, and then they have to out the Shenshen with Prankers, and that's close to impossible. For the XYZs we play Ptolemy. He's really cool when you can add back hand traps or just engine cards. And he's also decent at removing DPEs from the graveyard, but the card that does that better is Funfun. Funfun is crazy. You wouldn't think that a Banish from Field and a Crow combined is really good, but it is. And when it then pairs with the effect that just float when it's destroyed, is also pretty clutch. I like Funfun a lot.
He's basically Ice Dragon's Prison on legs, right?
Yeah, it is. But
he's pretty strong.
Also hit spells in the graveyard.
Oh, okay. And then go into Zeus afterwards.
Yeah. Then we played Utopia. This is probably one of a few flex spots with the Mud Dragon package. So you can decide to not run this or play a Dragoon instead when you want a better trap and control matchup. But I really like him because of outing problematic monsters and sometimes OTKing with Charge Warrior. Then we play Breaksword. I think Breaksword is really good because it just can out problematic cards and has relatively high attack stats for rank 3. It also can crash with Border, if that's something you deem as relevant. Then we play Thunder Charger. This card is used a lot because most of your Oxys detach one and then or don't have to detach, like Utopia doesn't detach, and then you just make a format Zeus, and format Zeus is pretty nice. Funfun has to detach too, so you make it a two card Zeus, and then we obviously play Zeus. This card is insane. Anytime you make this and your opponent doesn't have that much resources, but you like activated GG, you have a pretty high chance of winning.
What's also insane about Gaia, especially against PK, is that it makes fog blading cards like Funfun and M7 really awkward, because you know, okay, they can just go into Gaia over it and still attack and go into Zeus. So that's definitely something to keep in mind, especially with PK supposedly being the best deck in the format.
Yeah. I think the only problem with PK might be going on forward is that it plays a lot of bricks, and so over a long tournament it could break a lot. But that's just my opinion on the deck.
I'm going to real quickly put up the changed deck list which you would play after this tournament, so the people can see it. So it's basically just the Droll in the side and the Gamma, and you took out the Twin Twisters and the Dark Rulers, and you moved 3 Nips into the main deck. Especially, I think Brave PK was the most popular deck, and not Brave PK, Brave Prankits was, I think, the most popular deck, right?
Either that or Brave PK.
Yeah. So this looks pretty good against that and Droll in the side. I'm not too sure about the Drolls yet, but it depends, I guess.
Yeah. I just like Droll a lot sometimes against unfair decks, because some of those unfair decks become pretty fair after you Droll them.
Yeah, especially with Brave, a lot of decks now start to lose to Droll, where they didn't lose to it before. For example, against Phantom Knights, Droll is also pretty good, because if they use Aquamancer and you Brave them, you Droll them on that, they can't use Boots to add, they can't use Cloak to add, so that's at minimum an Extender and 1 Disruption less. And before that, it wasn't really applicable to the matchup at all.
Exactly.
So it could be fine, but I just haven't tested it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's basically it, right? Or do you have anything else to add to the deck list?
No, not really. I'm probably just going to test the new deck list at TCG Locals, who hosted that tournament, and shout out to Nivska, who's the streamer of that Discord server. And probably this weekend I'm playing at the regional in Recklinghausen with this deck, and I just hope it performs as well as it did at the Sunday tournament.
Perfect. Any got shoutouts left or anything else to add?
Yeah, shoutouts to you for making the deck profile and testing with me. Shoutouts to Jonte and Simon for testing with me and carrying me through COVID. And yeah, that's it, I think.
Oh, no shoutouts to the Virtual World Discord. Okay. Hear that, Virtual World Discord? No.
I like those guys, but they don't help in a lot of situations.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's basically it for this quick discourse on Virtual World. New to this channel, but yeah, you will probably see more of it in the future once I start actually playing the deck myself. You guys are dismissed. Professor Sunreis out. Peace.